Hello and welcome. The operating area for the Eastern Counties Omnibus Company Limited is situated on the extreme east coast of the UK and covers an area of East Anglia that includes Norfolk, Suffolk and part of Cambridgeshire. This area including towns and cities such as Cambridge, Ipswich, the vast swathes of the Norfolk Broads and Norwich, which is particularly famous for this man. The Eastern Counties Omnibus Company Limited was formed in July 1931 to combine four existing Tilling British automobile traction operations: United Automobile Services East Anglian Area, the Eastern Counties Road Car Company Limited, Ortona Motor Company Limited, and the Peterborough Electric Traction Company Limited. United had been formed in 1912 with a base in Lowestoft, although it expanded into other areas as well, and it was also the major operator in East Anglia. In 1929 it came under the joint control of Tilling British Automobile Traction and the London North Eastern Railway. The original Eastern Counties, the Eastern Counties Road Car Company Limited, came into being in 1919 and was a Tilling enterprise based in Ipswich. It became part of Tilling British Automobile Traction in 1928, and at the end of 1929 London North Eastern Railway acquired an interest. Ortona, and I do hope I've pronounced that correctly, had commenced operation in 1907 and was based in Cambridge. It had some British automobile traction involvement and became a Tilling British Automobile Traction Associate in 1928. Both the London Midland Scottish Railway and the London North Eastern Railway purchased shares in Ortona in 1929. The oldest company, Peterborough Electric Traction, had been a British electric traction tramway operating subsidiary founded in 1902. Buses appeared in 1913 and tramcar operations ceased in 1930. The company became part of Tilling British Automobile Traction in 1928, with LMS and LNER involvement from 1929. In addition to taking over these four operators' vehicles, Eastern Counties Omnibus Company also acquired the United Coach Building Works at Lowestoft. This was separated from the bus operation in 1936 and was better known as Eastern Coach Works. Control of the Norwich Electric Tramways Company was obtained in 1933, bringing with it 33 buses and 44 trams. The company became the Norwich Omnibus Company in 1935, and the trams were withdrawn in December of that year. Eastern Counties Omnibus Company buses operated Norwich city services technically on hire to the company until it was wound up in 1955. In 1942, Eastern Counties Omnibus Company became a Tilling company. Among post-war acquisitions was Metropolitan Coaches of Great Yarmouth taking over in 1951, which survived as a fleet name on a few coaches until 1968. Pre-war, the fleet featured many Leylands, some of which were later rebodied after the war and survived up until the late 1950s, early 1960s. After the war, more standard Tilling-type vehicles started to enter the fleet. Being part of the Tilling fleet and having the Eastern Coachworks factory within its operating area, you can imagine that the majority of the fleet was actually Eastern Coachworks bodied. During the Tilling years, the fleet livery was Tilling Red and Cream. When Eastern Counties joined the National Bus Company, that livery became National Bus Company Poppy Red. From 1972, coaches continued to be cream and maroon. This eventually being replaced by standard National Bus Company coaching white. Eastern Counties was one of the companies involved in the Great Scottish Bus Group, National Bus Company, Lodekkas and Bristol VR exchange in 1973. During the exchange, the company swapped 43 vehicles and received both standard length Bristol VRs as well as the long wheelbase Bristol VRs that had been operated with Eastern Scottish. In September 1984, in the run-up to the privatisation of the National Bus Company, the Cambridge operations of Eastern Counties was split to become Cambus. On the 5th of December 1986, Cambus was sold to a management-led buyout as part of the privatisation of the National Bus Company subsidiaries. In December 1988, Cambus Holdings acquired most of the bus and coach operations of Cambridge-based Premier Travel Services. And in September 1989, Cambus's Peterborough operations were split off to form the Viscount Bus and Coach Company Limited. Everything significant at Cambus seemed to happen in December, and in 1995, on the 6th of December, it was sold to Stagecoach Holdings for £12.6 million. And this became known as Stagecoach East. The main bulk of Eastern Counties was sold to a management-led buyout in February 1987. with the coaching arm of the company being transferred over to Ambassador Travel of Great Yarmouth in December 1987. On the formation of the privatised company, they adopted these bright colours, which very cleverly is just a facelifted version of the National Bus Company Poppy Red. And there were a few operators at the time of privatisation who did this. They just added slightly different relief colours to the standard red or the standard green and lifted the main colour scheme up slightly. It's all very clever because it gives you a facelifted image but doesn't involve a full repaint on a lot of the vehicles. In March 1988, Bristol VR266 RAH266W fell into an old chalk mine in Norwich when the road collapsed and formed a sinkhole. The bus driver, Jim Peitling, managed to get all the passengers off before the bus sunk further into the hole. And there were no injuries, which is always good news, isn't it? 266 was eventually rescued out of its hole with surprisingly very little damage and was repaired and returned to service. Sadly, this bus was withdrawn and scrapped in 2000. In July 1994, Eastern Counties was sold to Grampian Regional Transport Group for £6.7 million. And as we know, they merged with Badgerline in June 1995 to form First Bus. In September 1996, First Bus also bought Great Yarmouth Transport, later merging this with the operations of First Eastern Counties. Now known as First Eastern Counties, it operates from 5 depots in areas in Norwich, Ipswich, Great Yarmouth, Lowestoft and Kings Lynn. And that brings our story of Eastern Counties Omnibus Company up to date. And as I always say with these videos, there are many years of proud bus company history crammed into around a 10-minute long video, so I may have left things out, omitted things for time constraints, etc. So I apologise if I've left something out that might be important to you. If I have done, please comment down below and let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and share it, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and tick the notification box to make sure that you don't miss any of the future releases in this series. And talking of which, don't forget to check out the other videos in this series and discover the histories of the other National Bus Company subsidiaries that I've done already. Stay tuned for the next edition, which will be the Mighty Green Eastern National. Bye for now.